Hi, thanks for joining me today to make these lovely chocolate and peppermint baked donuts. So we've got 300 millilitres of warm milk. It's fairly warm but not too hot. And I'm going to add in 1 packet of dry active yeast. That just gets sprinkled in the bowl. And I'm going to add in some sugar, so that's 2 tablespoons of regular granulated sugar. You just pop these in. And then mix up this liquid. So you can see the yeast has already started to activate, and you want to just leave this for between 5 and 10 minutes just until the yeast has begun to start to activate. And I've got 500 grams of strong white bread flour, and to make the no knead version I'm going to take out a cup and I'm going to beat the wet mixture, and that stops you from having to knead. You can leave in all the flour and knead the dough like a regular bread dough. You just pop in your yeast mixture. I'm just going to add the other ingredients that helps this dough to be enriched. So I've got some melted butter here. This has been melted in the microwave just for a few seconds and then cooled down. So that's 40 grams of melted butter. And then I've got 1 free range egg yolk. Just giving that a quick stir round. I'm just going to get this scraped out. So you just want to get all that into your bowl. And give it a quick stir. And now I'm just going to add the salt. So that's half a teaspoon of salt goes in. And then you want to beat the mixture very wet. It's quite like a cake batter. You beat that for 5 minutes until you add in the flour. And then you just want to work the rest of the flour in, and that's going to bring it back to being a regular dough mixture. Now, as I say, you can just miss out that stage and knead the bread like you would normally knead bread for 10 minutes. I prefer to beat it quite a wet mixture with the spoon and then just add in the flour at the end. I find it's quite a good way to do it. So you just want to mix that all round, and then once you've worked it in, you get a lovely dough. So I put this into an oiled bowl. I'm just dusting it with a wee bit of flour, and I'm just going to put cling film over it. And I'm going to let this prove in a warm room. To be honest, I put it next to the radiator for 1 hour. And after an hour, you've got a lovely risen dough. So you can see it's quite spongy, and at this stage you just want to knock the air back out of it. This is called letting the dough down or knocking it out. So you just want to mix it round, and then this is the stage where you can start to actually cut out your baked donuts. So these donuts are really nice. You can fry them if you want to fry them. I prefer them baked because of less oil. So I'm just going to use half the mixture just now. I'm going to use the other half later to make some other donuts. So as I say, you've got a lovely soft mix. So you just want to start to shape it up a bit and get it ready to roll. So you have to flour your board. I'm just getting it ready. And then you want to flour your rolling pin. And then you just roll it out. So they always tell you not to turn, they tell you to turn the dough, not the rolling pin. Sometimes it's quite hard to stick to that method, but if you do, it makes it easier. So you're lifting it up, you can turn it over. It just means that you're not getting a big sticky mess, that you know where you're going with it. So you want to just roll that out. Now you want it to probably to about 1/2 inch thick. And then what I'm doing is I'm just actually letting it come back in with its shape. And then I've got this cookie cutter. I'm just going to dust that in some flour. This is quite a large one. I'm going to make some large donuts. I'm going to make some small ones later. So you just press that down and cut it out. And you see how easy it is just to cut them. So as you see, just about 1/2 inch. You can make them slightly thinner as well. And then I've just got some parchment paper and I've just put them in. So while they rest for another hour, I'm going to make the icing sugar and the icing for the top. So I've got 1.5 cups of icing sugar, we call it in the UK, or powdered icing. I'm using a silver spoon. And I've just sifted that out and I've measured out with my cup. And then I'm just going to add in some cold milk. So probably about 2 to 3 tablespoons of cold milk that you'll need, but really the best way to do it is just to add little bits at a time and stir it in until you get a really good consistency. Just adding in some more. So it's good to try and be patient and just work it in slowly. So I'm going to make a really thick icing because I'm going to add some more colouring and that will dilute it a bit. It's quite a therapeutic thing. You just keep stirring it around. So I've got some lovely thick icing here. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this icing. I'm going to use the rest for something else to do other donuts later. So I'm just adding a little drop here. I'm just going to ice up 2 or 3 donuts with this amount. It does actually go quite a long way, the icing. I'm going to add in some American peppermint. So I just want to add a few drops. And I've got some food colouring here that I keep in a little tray because sometimes they do drip and it's quite handy just to keep them in a tray. So I don't have a green icing, so I'm going to add some blue and yellow. So I'm just popping in some blue colouring. You want to add small amounts to start with and then you can add more later. And a little bit of yellow. And then you just want to start to stir this together. So I love food colouring, it always gets lovely bright colours. So very quickly you get a lovely bright colour. So this is quite a bright colour, it's a wee bit on the yellow side, so I will add a bit more colour just to get more of a green colour. And you can see it's really quite easy to work with, quite good fun as well. So just going to pop in a little more blue, and this will just make a bit of a darker green colour. As I say, if you have got green, just use your green colour. So this is more of the green that I was thinking of, more of a sort of bright green. So the peppermint gives it a lovely smell. Quite often in the UK we use peppermint, we have a thing called peppermint slice, and that uses a green peppermint fondant. So here you can see it's lovely and glossy. And that's a good consistency. You don't want it too runny, but you also want it to be able to spread quite well when you're using it. So as you can see, that's it in another bowl, and I'm going to make the filling. So the filling is Nutella or any other chocolate spread and peppermint essence. So it's very easy to make. I'm just using a little because I'm just going to, as I say, I'm just going to make a few of these donuts just now, but you can use as much as you need to use. And with the American peppermint again, and just again, just a few drops, little drizzle. Now the Nutella is quite cold, so it's quite stiff, as you can see. But once you start to mix it round, it will soften up, and the peppermint is in an oil-based product. Now, if you've got peppermint that's in more of a sort of water-based, it may not act as well, but that's Dr. Oetker, and it's like an oil-based, so it actually makes your Nutella lovely and thick and glossy, and the oil mixes in really easily. So that's your fillings prepared while you're waiting for your donuts to rise for the second time. I'm just going to pop this into the icing bag. So I've got a disposable icing bag here, and I've just sat it in a glass to make it easier to put it in. So this is a really nice consistency as well. It's nice and thick, but it has also softened up with the addition of just that wee bit of peppermint oil. And again, it's got a lovely minty smell to it. So I'd say this is a fairly small amount just for a few donuts, but you can also make a big bowl and add more peppermint essence. Now this is the tricky bit, is just sorting it out. So the glass was just to support it while you filled it, and then you just want to bring up all the sides, and you just want to get this just prepared for icing. So you just shake down your mixture and just trying to get this sorted out. And then I'm just going to fold it. You can twist the top or you can fold, but I find folding is just that wee bit easier. So you just fold it over and then you fold it down. And that's a really good way to use a piping bag. And I've got quite a small nozzle. If you've got a larger nozzle, that would be easier, but I've just got a small nozzle, but you can see it comes out now. So that's you get everything ready for icing the donuts. So this is the donuts that have risen. You see they're quite high now, they're up to about 1 inch high. I'm just going to bake them off in an oven, and they bake for about 8 to 15 minutes, and it really depends on how hot your oven is, but you want to take them out when they're this lovely golden brown. And now on to the fun bit, which is icing. So I've just got a sharp knife, and I'm going to put a small slit in the side. And then what you want to do is just put something long inside and just wiggle it around just a little bit, and this creates the hole for it to put your filling in. And then you want to just get your piping bag ready, and then you just want to start to fill. So you just squash in your chocolate, just checking to see that it's coming out. As I say, a larger nozzle would help. But as you can see, it looks really nice, and I've just filled it out to the edge. And then I'm just going to use a knife just to put on this lovely glossy green peppermint icing. You can also dip donuts if the glaze is just a bit thinner, but I quite like just to ice with a knife. So that's your donut filled and iced, and then I've just got some grated chocolate to sprinkle on the top. Then people will know that there's chocolate inside. Just tap that down, and this is your finished donuts. So they're really worth giving a go. They tasted absolutely incredible. So I'm just going to show you what it was like when I opened one. So you just break it open, and all the filling is inside, lovely minty chocolate. So I hope you've really enjoyed watching the video today and that you give this recipe a go. Please remember you can subscribe to get more videos, and you can also become a patron. There's a link underneath this recipe. Thank you very much.